Hi, I'm Tiffany Guarnaccia, the CEO of Kite PR. Welcome to Modern Mentorship, our Young Lions edition. And of course, I have Jill Lyons, no better guest than Jill, to join me today. She's the Chief Operations Officer for Maximum Effort. Jill, welcome.
Thank you, Tiffany. Great to see you and great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Now, of course, as the title implies, we're talking about mentorship. And I know you've had such an interesting career. You started off as a journalism major, right? And
That's right.
you've had this just great path to where you are today. So, how did you get to where you are and how did you rely on mentors along that journey?
Well, I cannot speak more highly on the value of mentorship. I think that throughout my career, I have turned to and looked towards people in my career life and my personal life, and in my maybe my consumer or content life. Right? I think mentorship can come from anywhere. I have several uh, people who I would consider mentors in my life that I've never even met. I've read their books or I've studied their work, and something resonated for me. And so, to me, mentorship is really critical because everybody needs their board of directors. Everyone needs their council and advisory board to get them to kind of the next level or the next goal that they have for themselves, whether it's professional or personal or otherwise. And so I've been really fortunate in my career to work with a lot of really incredible creative teams and dynamic creator people. And so I've always looked for and tried to connect with and really absorb and take in knowledge and information from the people around me. And so really at every touch point of every part of my career, starting from like my very first job out of college to, kind of my first big kid, formative job working at Oprah to, fast forward pivoting into advertising, and now to Max Effort. I mean, have always been helpers along the way, right? None of us are meant to do this alone. And then I think that, really understanding the difference between mentorship, sponsorship, um, and coaching are really important because they're kind of in the same ecosystem, but they are interrelated, right? I think that the perfect mix is all three, but at different points in your career, you kind of need different things. And certainly, mentorship is the tether across that sponsorship and coaching, right? It kind of sits kind of in between or in the middle or part of that Venn diagram of support and advisory that so many all of us need. None of us are meant to do this alone. It's a team sport and nobody's gotten to where they've gotten without help from other people.
That's such a good point, Jill, and especially as we're talking today to not only young lions but young professionals overall. And oftentimes you kind of get fixated on, I need to find this one person that's going to help me get to the next level. But I love the thought of really thinking differently about mentors, sponsors, coaches, just really building that network of ideas, perspectives, people that you can pull from as you look to continue to advance. And we're in such a interesting time. It's very disruptive. There's tons of innovation. What do you think the biggest piece of advice is that you'd offer to a young professional today that's looking to advance?
Oh man, stay curious. Stay curious is my biggest piece of advice because I think oftentimes we, exactly to your point, we get pigeonholed. We think, oh, I have this job and I need this job. This is the title I'm going after, or this is the step I need to get to next, or I need that perfect person who can just tell me how to do it, how to make it in this system. And I think when you open your curiosity and start to say, wait a minute, okay, so I see that this is the title that I want or the next right move at this organization. Um, but what does that look like if I translate it to a different passion of mine? What if, is there an ancillary or a adjacent path that might also have something interesting to it, right? And so I think, we hear follow your passion, follow your passion, follow your dreams. And sometimes it's like, well, if that's not aligned, maybe curiosity is a softer way in, that has a little more of an open aperture to say, huh, there might be some energy to that. Huh, I never really considered that company or that role or this evolution. But if I'm open to it, um, I might find myself down a path that I didn't know was available to me, right? And so I think, especially kind of early in your career, when things do tend to be quite linear, right? You do kind of know the path ahead of you. You know, I started as a production assistant, and the next role was an associate producer. And after associate producer, it was senior associate producer. Then it was producer. Then it was senior producer, right? So there was a very linear path, and I think sometimes we can get stuck in that. You know, and we're seeing it in advertising in our industry all the time, right? Like once you kind of pick that path, it can be difficult to pivot. Well, what if you're a writer who wants to be a producer? What if you're a producer who wants to be an art director? What if you're an art director who wants to be in account management, right? Those pivots and shifts are available to you, and there's a little bit of a language tweak or a curiosity moment to say, wait a minute, how do I, number one, understand what I want to be doing? And then number two, how do I convince you that that's a good idea, right? So it's a twofold um, awareness and ability issue that is completely overcomable. However, I think a lot of young people in their career think, oh, I've pigeonholed myself into this career because this was my way in, and now here I'm on this path, whether I want to be or not.
That's such a great point, Jill. It's one that I can really relate to, especially as you're shaping your career early on. As you pointed out, you're following a career progression. You're looking at a ladder that you feel like you might have to climb because this is how someone else has shaped their path. But something I've talked more about is really think about a career constellation, right? How are you kind of building
Yeah.
that network of stars and experiences that get you to your North Star? Especially today, as we think about all of the different opportunities that are arising, really that constellation for some young professionals is the universe. When you think about the possibilities that are being created through AI, what is your perspective? Do you have any hot takes for young professionals on how they should be thinking about AI today?
Well, listen, I mean, the industry, the job descriptions, the roles that we have are all rapidly changing. And so, you know, AI is a huge part of that. It's not the only part of it, but it is a big, big chunk. I mean, we're sitting at kind of this intersection of huge seismic shifts from a, you know, sociology perspective, right? Like we're talking like printing press big, right? And so it behooves all of us, it's in our best interest to lean into the discomfort, to not run away from it, but to really understand and identify, you know, hey, where can I um, see myself playing in this space? Where is this additive? How do I look at AI as another tool in my toolkit? Um, and something I can get smarter in, right? It doesn't mean you have to like become an expert on every single category of AI, but how do you take what it is that you're doing, what your contributions are, and how do you affix AI to become an accelerator and something that's helpful to what you're doing? And that's going to look different for everybody, but there's like productivity AI, there's like creator AI, there's, you know, writing, art direction, like mid journeys, creating, whatever is getting you to, it's not about, you know, trying to shortcut or deteriorate or take something away from you. It's about what can it add to your process. And so I would just again encourage people to be curious. Try it out. See if it works. It might not be for you. And like not every platform is going to be for everybody, but I do think that, you know, if you're not spending some time on, you know, where we're headed, it will probably, you know, is not the best not the best use. You don't want to become obsolete, right? There was a there is a story, I forget if it's Philadelphia we'll call it Philadelphia, but there was a big boycott back in the like late 1800s, early 1900s, whenever wheels came on the luggage, of the bellman saying, "Oh, we will not be a hotel where the wheels are on the luggage because my job goes away." And they did a strike, and you know fast forward, you don't see too many people carrying around suitcases. We've all got wheels on our luggage now, so the change kind of comes. You have to lean into the discomfort and understand what it evolves to.
That's such a good perspective, and it's really reminding us to look forward and think about the disruption that's happening that's really being driven by new technologies. And oftentimes it's something that we really have to think about: what are the future needs of the workforce, the future needs of customers, and that could be different than how we look at things today because things are changing so rapidly. And I love your perspective. I know that when I was, really looking into some of the work that you're doing, you're certainly that creative operational leader, and that means that you're always mixing process and storytelling, which personally I have a passion for as well. Of course, being at the helm of a business, you realize that process helps you scale, right? But that
Yes.
creativity and storytelling are just key to what you do. So I see that you're pulling forward in everything that you've been doing. Well, I'm so inspired by today's conversation, and I'm really excited for the Young Lions that's coming up. What excites you the most about the Young Lions this year?
Oh, I love the Young Lions program. It's one of my favorite things. And it's because I think that, well, a couple of things. I think creativity can come from anywhere. I think that, we are, as we've been talking about, living in this like really interesting and incredible time in our industry where kind of all of these worlds, film, television, advertising, marketing, content, social media, it's all kind of coming together into like the constellation, we were talking about with the job description, like with your role in your career. But I think it's never been a more exciting time to be a creator because so many of those rules and barriers are down, right? Everyone's got the publishing power of the New York Times. We've got more power on our phones than to create and tell a beautiful story. The technology, everything has kind of caught up and surpassed in a lot of ways to anything that we've seen before. So I just, to really identify and understand, and then like systems and processes, right? To have this organization and this group and this community in Young Lions, I think number one, it's incredible to be a participant, and I think it's a great opportunity and something that everybody should try for and try again, and participate and engage with the content in the community. And then for me, it's just such a joy to be able to provide some mentorship and some support to people who are younger in their careers, because I love this business and this industry. I think it's so fun. I get so excited that I get to wake up and make cool things that people enjoy participating in. And, our mission at Next Effort is to bring people together in fun, smart, and unexpected ways. And it's like, what a great way to, spend your day. I work with some of the most creative people on the planet. And, that the idea that this is a job. And again, when I was a kid, I'm from Chicago, I had no idea that this was even a job that was something that was possible. And so I think, Young Lions provides so much exposure and so much opportunity for building that network and that community, which again, you're going to need. Everybody needs somebody. And, you need your board of directors, your advisors, and your crew. And it's been cool for me to see in my, 20-year career. I have so many deep friendships and so much support from colleagues, mentors, sponsors, friends, clients, right? And to see it kind of all coalesce into this, this industry is it's very large, but it's also very small. So really excited just for the community and the engagement of being able to connect with folks. And I think Young Lions is an incredible, incredible way to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. I share your excitement. And I think you said it best, Jill. There's never been a better time to be a creator. Well, I appreciate the time. What a fantastic conversation today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to see you.